up, guys? Welcome back to Live from There. Hope you guys are doing well. We're going to be looking at one of my favorite videos that I've seen on YouTube about watches, and this is a video from Hodinkee. It's part of their Talking Watches series, and it's their Talking Watches with John Goldberger. If you don't know about Hodinkee's Talking Watches, where have you been? I'm joking. Talking Watches is essentially a series where Hodinkee interviews some collectors and hears about their stories about the watches that they purchased and watches that they may purchase in the future. So we're gonna be watching that together. If you don't know, John Goldberger is a very prominent collector within watches. His real name is Auro Montanari, and he's created a lot of literature around watches, but also his collection is just phenomenal. The reason why I want to do it start this kind of reaction video about talking watches with John Goldberger is because he's really influenced my collection, the types of watches that I want to have in my collection. So that's what we're going to be doing today. But before we get into John Goldberger's collection, be sure to hit that like button for us if you like these types of videos, and subscribe to the channel if you are new here. So let's just jump right into this. Geneva is beautiful. Look at those mountains.
Today we're in Geneva for episode 3 of Talking Watches. We'll be speaking with an Italian collector who's been collecting watches since the early 1970s. He's an author, he's a scholar, he's a gentleman. His name is John Goldberger, and today we're talking watches.
Little cafe, it's beautiful.
So John, could you tell us how you got into watch collecting in the first place?
My father and my mother was a great art collector, and they brought me to the flea market to see furniture, carpets, painting, and my father showed me a few watches. He told me these watches are very interesting and try to make your own collection.
What was your first great watch?
It was a Rolex 3-counter. I don't remember the reference. I still have it in my safe. It's a very crispy Rolex, 18 karat gold. I found in an antiquity shop for $800.
Okay, just really quickly, 112. Before, I know this is a super early pause, but first off, like, just look at John Goldberger's style. Beautiful, beautiful jacket with a little purple polka dot pocket square in this. A jeans shirt. It's really, really beautiful. Like he is like a style icon. I mean, and I know it's like simple and kind of rugged, but I like that type of style. I also think it's amazing when you see that shot of his collection on the table. I didn't see a single watch with a bracelet, which I thought was kind of funny. So straps must be something that he really likes, and something that I've kind of brought into my collection and the way I collect. So let's continue.
Collecting all the way through since the 70s through now. You've never stopped?
Never stopped. I have a good connection around the world. Dealers, few flea markets, auction, and other collectors.
And what do you specialize in primarily?
Patek, Rolex, Cartier, Longines, Omega, other small brand chronograph.
Watches that you really have to work to find.
Yeah, it's very hard to find very nice watches in a great condition.
So, would you say part of the fun in collecting watches is trying to find them, or is it more about owning the watches?
More exciting to find them. And those I don't wear the watches.
Why don't we start with this watch here? What is this watch?
This is a Rolex chronograph.
Okay, actually 2 minutes. Let's just stop there really quickly. The way where he talked about what's something that's really important about watch collecting is it's actually more exciting to try and find the watches that you're looking for, and a lot of the watches that he has in his collection are very, very difficult references to actually find. This came out around the same time that I was actually looking for my first vintage watch purchase, which was a memo sale. And when I watched this, I realized I should be patient and enjoy the journey and try and find one that really, really meets all of my standards and meets all of the buckets that I was trying to really accomplish with my first vintage watch purchase. So again, like, just really influential in my collecting. Sorry, we can continue on this beautiful Rolex split second.
Second, stainless steel, manufactured by Rolex in 12 example in 42. Inside there is a good Valiju caliber 55 VBR. The same caliber you can find in the other 3 watches.
I think that's kind of an interesting point about this is this watch, the 4113, is one of the most appreciated watches in vintage watches today. And that costs a lot, we'll say. And then these other three examples, which use the exact same movement, are considerably less. Why is the Rolex worth X where these are worth Y?
Because Rolex on the dial.
It's a good point.
It also is better designed than the other one. The case is thinner and lighter. They made only 12 examples, and it's Rolex.
And so between the other three, which one do you think is the most interesting outside of the Rolex?
And the Universal. The Universal is with the same caliber, but compare Rolex is a 24-hour display on a dial. It's a military watch because it's assigned to aviation, Italian aviation. It was a real pilot watch.
So it's a split second with a 24-hour scale
Yeah.
with an inscription on the back.
It was for night navigation with the stars.
And how many of these were made?
Maybe 50 pieces.
Limited quantities on all of his watches.
What is this watch right here?
It's a very unique watch because it was manufactured by Breguet in 36 perpetual calendar with the moon phase retrograde.
So does Breguet know about this watch?
No think so. It's a unique piece.
And the next watch is a Patek.
This watch was
This is one
manufactured
of
by
my
Patek
favorites.
in the 1917. It's a large Curvex 18-karat gold case with a all handmade enamel engraved dial and with a gold wheel inside.
With a gold escape wheel?
Yeah,
The dial is really interesting on that. I mean, it's really...
yeah, with the exploded Arabic numerals with engraved Patek Philippe on the back. Very simple, but it's nice.
Okay, 402. So let's just go over those incredible watches that were just discussed. So a Rolex split second had the same movement in the Universal Genève. The Rolex had, there were 12 examples made of that watch. I think there are only 9 that are known. The Universal Genève, same movement, but it has, there were about 50 pieces of those. So 2 extremely rare watches, both of them owned by John Goldberger. If you notice, their designs are extremely classic, very, very vintage inspired. Everything from the pushers to the way the dial has patinaed. It's just incredible. So those are really, really beautiful. And I know that the Rolex split second, there was one at auction recently that fetched for a crazy amount. I don't know exactly how much, but I know it was. The next one was that Breguet. It's a beautiful perpetual calendar. What is crazy is that he was saying that Breguet actually doesn't know about that reference because there was only one made. Like, how does a watch company not know that they've created a watch? It's just mind-blowing to me. I also really like that it's a little bit smaller. It doesn't have to be so obtrusive on your wrist. It's just a phenomenal watch. The Patek Philippe Gondolo, that is actually one of my favorite Patek Philippe's that has ever produced. The way that like you said, the explosion of those numerals just gives the dial a really different feel. And like I said, one of my favorite Patek Philippe's. Let's get into this watch, which is, just let him explain it.
This is a watch that is seldom seen, but famous on some level. So this is the Paul Newman Yachtmaster. So what is the story behind this watch?
The first Yachtmaster came out in the middle of 90. It was this dial mounted in a 6239 case. Singer company for Rolex manufactured 3 dials like this. One is in Rolex safe. The other one is
of 2.
Eric Clapton watch, and this is my watch.
Look at the subdials, so beautiful.
And what is this?
This is the unique white gold
Unique.
Daytona, manufactured by Rolex in the 70 and sold to 71 to a Rolex dealer in Dortmund in Germany by special request from the customer.
So it's a white gold 6265.
Yeah,
The only one.
yeah.
And what else did you bring with you?
So
I
that,
brought
I'll talk about it in a second.
Another simple watch manufactured by Rolex for Panerai is a 6152/1. They made few pieces between 55 and 56. Very few has a luminous Panerai dial.
So this was issued to the Italian Navy.
Yeah, for Italian Navy.
Oh, that's beautiful. And then if we could skip to the...
We'll stop at 515. So first off, he is one of 2 Yachtmasters. So like I don't know. I mean, okay, so he's an Italian collector. The Italian collecting world was really the start of where vintage watches began. So he probably had a lot of accessibility to these types of watches, but it's incredible to think that he is one of 2 He has one of two for the specific reference. Also, that white gold Daytona that he took off his wrist and showed, which was a unique piece, actually went at auction. Don't know how much it sold for. I think it was around 1 million Swiss francs, but I'm not really sure. Incredible, just simply incredible. There's not much more to say.
The tech you have there.
My favorite watch.
Stainless steel 570, manufactured in 1942, 3-tone dial with the big Breguet numerals. I think one of the most beautiful watch by Patek.
So
the
nice.
size, the details, the balance between dial and the size of the case, the looks, is a good watch.
It's one of my favorites.
So many of these watches are rather rare, rather expensive, things like that. Do you have any kind of recommendations for guys that are looking for really high-end vintage watches without having to spend a fortune? What do you think is a great...
All right, let's stop at 6 minutes really quickly because I'm going to watch till the end on this section because I think this is really insightful. If you are looking to get into collecting, the watch that you just showed you, the Patek Philippe Reference 570, it's one of my favorite watches. I think it, like he said, I believe too that it's one of the most beautiful watches produced by Patek Philippe. It's everything you really want. We'll get into his suggestions on if you're getting into vintage watches.
There are a lot of brands, very interesting. Zenith, the first Premier, or some Universal Chrono, Longines, Omega. Now I show you a very nice Omega from 38.
Really nice.
Black sector dial and a great steel case. Also, I show you another nice watch by Longines. It's a chronograph manufactured in 42.
Blacked out
the
chronographs.
balance of this case, the dial are perfect. Maybe this is one of the most beautiful chronograph of all Swiss
It's a big
companies.
statement.
So would you say Longines and Omega and Universal represent kind of an interesting first step into vintage watches?
Yeah, very good.
Best scene is coming up right now.
So could you tell us about the movements of some of these?
Stainless steel back with the reference.
So this is a Valjoux with a...
55 BBR. You see the Rolex name on it. They made 12 pieces and known are 8. There are still 4
Eight.
unknown
Not 9 like
They're
that.
somewhere out there.
somewhere. This is a universal. The back
The
with the universal
epitome
symbol.
of being a boss right
the
here.
finishing is less finished compared to Rolex. This watch is in great condition. Look at the steel.
Something we haven't talked about yet is your
He's
book.
a scholar.
So how many books have you written?
5. I am only one-man company. I
Yeah.
make text, technical description, photos, layout, graphic, everything.
Your most popular book, I would imagine, is the Rolex book. So could you walk us through how you decided which watches made it into that book?
I decided to choose very nice 100 example to put in my book. By rarity, quality.
What are you mostly interested in right now?
Right now, I'd like to produce another book, another 100 superlative Rolex.
Such a good video. Okay, so just on that last 2 minutes right there. So when he opens the back of those watches, that has become an iconic thing within the watch world. Ironically, Hodinkee actually asked that cafe if they still had that knife. That knife has obviously a yellow handle, and that's actually the only knife that they have in that bistro with a yellow handle. So Hodinkee actually asked them if they could have it from that bistro, and they do. It's actually in the Hodinkee HQ. So I thought that was so cool. I mean, just so you know, opening a watch case like that, you typically want your watchmaker to do that, but for him that watch is $1 million or $1 million francs. To do that just so nonchalantly is crazy, and it shows who John Goldberger or Auro Montanari is. I will also say his suggestions on Longines, Omega, and Universal Genève as entry points into the vintage watch world is a very good point. I think these companies still have a lot of value that you can find in them, and they're so classic and beautiful and just exactly what vintage watches really should be. So yeah, that's the video. I really love this collection. Just a couple things that you should take away from this. He is a true vintage watch lover, vintage watch collector. Like he said, he is a scholar himself. He creates books, but he does it all himself, and he knows a ton of information. I think a couple things when it comes to his collection that come through is rarity, condition, and then just watches that he really loves. Those three things I've tried to apply to my kind of watch collecting as well, and it's a good place to start. I think one of the key messages from this is enjoy the hunt for the watches that you're looking for. Don't just try and pick up anything that you want if it doesn't meet your needs when it comes to condition, rarity, and the watch that you really love. So yeah, I really like this. I'll probably continue to do this because there's some really awesome videos that we can react to and give you my thoughts. And also, if you haven't seen these, I really want to make sure that you have. I'll put a link in the description to this video so that you can have, so you can go check it out if you'd like. Also, if you didn't do the beginning video, be sure to hit the like button for John Goldberger and his absolutely amazing collection. And also, if you are new to the channel and didn't do it in the beginning, be sure to subscribe to this channel if you are new. And with that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time.